Hello again, everybody. Welcome to Soccer's Overtime live on Twitch, your weekly look inside the San Diego Sockers and the Major Arena Soccer League. It's Season 4, Episode 8, and our fourth consecutive here live on Twitch, coming to you live every Tuesday at 5 p.m. Pacific time. My name is Craig Elston, and it is my pleasure to be joined by my mask-compliant compadre. It's Jerry Jimenez. Hey, Jerry.
What's going on, man? I might sound a little different, but I heard that there's viruses on the internet too, so I'm just trying to be extra careful nowadays. We got to do it. No, this is annoying. I'm just kidding. I'm going to take this.
Yeah. Your antivirus program should cover that.
I want to make light of it, but at the same time not, because it's very scary right now. What's up? No, it's good to be back. Episode 8, Season 4. Here we are.
Final episode of 2021.
Oh, my God, it is. I hadn't even thought about that, sir. Oh, my God.
We come to you live on December 28th, 2021, counting our way down to a Sunday, January 2nd showdown with the Ontario Fury. Game still on. Let's just put that at the top of the broadcast. As of 5:03 p.m., Tuesday, December 28th. Game still on. Still want to see out there at Pechanga Arena, San Diego for a 5 o'clock kickoff. A Ron Newman Cup Finals rematch on Retro Night between the Sockers and the Fury. Hello to everyone joining us live inside our twitch.tv studios. Thanks to everybody in the chat. Hello to Gabe, first in on time, left an apple on the teacher's desk, and we appreciate that. We got a big show, as always, lined up for you. Our live guest tonight, coming up at the bottom of the hour, about 5:30, will be joined by Mitchell Cardenas. And Mitchell will be joining us, one of the stalwart defenders of the San Diego Sockers. We'll ask him about the Sockers' 2-0 start and about preparing for 3 straight matches where he's going to be marking Frank Tayu, the king, the 4-time MASL MVP. Many challenges lie ahead. We'll talk to Mitchell coming up at the bottom of the hour. We'll offer a full preview of Soccer's Fury to wrap things up. Hey, we'll hit some uncomfortable truths a little bit later in the podcast that I think we need to confront and talk about as a community and a family correctly. We will do that on this conversation, just like the kind you had around the Christmas table, right? Well, we hope so. All of that coming up. But let's start off, Jerry, with the news. But first, news.
News around the... Man, there's been so much going on around the league, sir.
Yeah, there's news, there's Omicron Blues, and there's Soccer's news, and we're going to talk about it all. And we're going to get to the thing that I'm sure most people are tuning in to find out about right off the top. So, in fact, we're going to reverse things. We're going to flip-flop what we would normally do, which is do Soccer's news before MASL news, because one led to the other, my friend, as the day after we recorded, Wednesday of last week, the Dallas Sidekicks made what was kind of a shocking announcement that after an 0-3 start, 11 goals, 422 against, Pablo da Silva, first-time head coach, but long-time MASL, MISL player, indoor player, Brazil national team player. Pablo da Silva had been fired after an 0-3 start, and a lot of the roster went with him, Jerry. A lot of folks just walking right out of the door. Pablo got messy on social media. Sidekicks got a little bit, I mean, it was weird.
It was very weird, and I was following this and messaging you. Are you watching this? What is going on? And you know, it's unfortunate. I mean, yeah, an 0-3 start is a very tough one. We don't know what's going on also in those locker rooms, so there's a lot of stuff that we don't know about. So you kind of have to, assume that Sidekicks feel that they made the right decision at this point, and that they thought that it was just important, after an 0-3 start and whatever else was going on, to let Pablo da Silva go. Again, it's unfortunate. We talked about it on this podcast. We were very hopeful that having somebody like Pablo in the driving seat for Sidekicks would be a help to them. But, things weren't quite the way we thought they were going to be, unfortunately. And along with Pablo being like, oh, like you said, other players are affected and leave, but also indirectly the Sockers become affected, right, in a way. So, unfortunately, all around, nothing but the best to Pablo da Silva. And, honestly hopeful that the Sidekicks have made the right choice made the right moves here.
Yeah, I mean, that's obviously for the Sidekicks podcast, and I hope that they have a good time chewing it and spinning it and breaking it all down. Clearly, there was some sort of factionality going on in the Lone Star State because there were a group of players who had previously worn Sidekicks green or Memphis or Mesquite Outlaws blue that were not playing for Dallas. Pablo had brought in a new group of young players. And as you and I talked on the phone earlier today, Jerry, I'll say it live on the podcast too. I thought that was a good sign for Dallas. I mean, to me, when you've got a team that's won 3 games, 4 games, 1 game, and then you spend the offseason going, so-and-so is back. We brought back the team. We're running it back. It's like, that's not as exciting as you think it is. Normally, if you're bringing back the same team that went 3-21 or 2-22, like that's not really that fun. So having young faces and a new voice, I was excited to see in Dallas. Instead, it does look like they're kind of spinning it back. And Cameron Brown was announced as a signing, a guy who had been a longtime sidekick before and had gone on to Mesquite. And then on Christmas Eve day, in the Soccer's WhatsApp team text chat, came the message in the morning from Jamie Lovegrove that he was going to head back to Dallas, which is where, you might remember last week when he joined us in the podcast, he joined us from Dallas. He was flying in for games from Texas to California week by week. And let's get into it right now and just kind of clear the air on what happened, because Jamie Lovegrove was announced today as a Dallas sidekick and as a signee for 2021-2022 after on Monday on the MASL transaction wire, it popped up as the Soccer's releasing Jamie Lovegrove. So let's make one thing clear right off the top. Jamie Lovegrove asked to be released from his contract. That's what we put in our social media post yesterday. And the Soccer's, which, Jerry, the Soccer's are a family first organization. Before anything else, the Soccer's are a family first organization. Jamie Lovegrove has a family in Dallas. He's got 4 kids back there. He wanted to play close to home. He didn't want to be leaving his family every single weekend to be flying out to a road or a home game. It's tough for a pro athlete and a pro athlete's family either way, but he wanted to cut that in half. And now that there was somebody in Dallas that he felt amenable to working with, Jamie wanted to come back to Dallas. And as soon as he made that ask of Phil Salvaggio and of Cheeky Luna, they said, hey, don't ask twice. We'll let you go, essentially via con Dios, like be well, take care. We'll see what happens. And as such, a guy that we spent a lot of time gassing up last week on the podcast is no longer a San Diego Soccer. It's a big bummer for the Soccers, but I mean, doing the right thing, that should feel good no matter what.
And yeah, it's never wrong to do the right thing. I think in this situation, especially if it's somebody like Jamie who, is putting family first and wants to, go home technically. That's respectable. And again, like you said, the Soccers are very much a family first organization, and it is one of those situations where family comes first always. And here you have it, perfect example of that. Jamie gets to play close to home. Best of luck to him, just not against us, ever. But I mean, like we talked about it last podcast, he has already done enough damage to the Soccers in the past. We hope that doesn't continue. But he's going to be somebody that's definitely going to add to that team. So, good for him. And unfortunately, a loss for us. We will move on from that. I just hope that there isn't like a podcast curse that's going to start, man. Like there's that. We don't want to start. I'm going to put that out there right now so that it doesn't happen. Usually when I say something, it doesn't happen. So just going to say, because man, Mitchell Cardenas better not get hurt or something after this podcast today, sir.
We're going to bubble wrap him.
We're stopping this podcast completely. No, I'm just kidding. Just kidding.
There is no curse. There is no curse. Don't worry. Don't worry in the chat. It's not. It's not. No, he's okay. He's all right. Everything's all right. It's going to turn around. Small sample size, guy.
He's not listening right now because then he'd be like, "No, I'm not coming now."
Exactly. Sorry, guys. Computer didn't work. I wasn't able to show up. We'd be like, good. Well, yeah, I did joke to you on Monday that if it is a curse, then the next week I'm going to be inviting the King, Frank Tayu, on the show.
Yes, let's have Frank on the show. Let's do that. That'd be actually a great interview. We should get him on anyways.
Of course. I mean, we're only going to play 6 times. I'm sure we can have him. We had him on last year at one point, didn't we? When we did the crossover finals preview.
Yeah, with him and Farber came on.
Yep. When we were on with Philly and the Panda. And shout out to the Striking Fury folk. Hope you're all well. I'm sure you'll have a pod gearing up for the series just like we are this weekend. This is on the schedule, the first of 3 straight and 4 out of 6 between the Sockers and the Ontario Fury. They'll play 4 times in the month of January 2022. We'll talk a lot more about that down the road. Now, from a soccer standpoint, losing Jamie Lovegrove, what does it mean? Well, definitely midfield is the deepest part of the Sockers roster right now. How will San Diego fill that void? Well, here's one possible way, Jerry. We'll talk about it more when we get to Soccer's news, but as players come into the lineup, there are some multi-positional players that have the flexibility to be able to adjust and roll with the punches. And one of those guys is Felipe Gonzalez, who's been an attacking midfielder for most all of his career, but has been playing in the back for San Diego because the Sockers were weak in the back, a little bit thinned due to injury, and they were thick in the midfield. Well, if, for example, Luis Pee-wee Ortega is able to come back into the lineup, and then a little bit later on, Cesar Cerda is able to come back into the lineup, that frees up somebody to move into the midfield, whether it's a Felipe, who is a natural midfielder, or a Pee-wee, who is also a player that can move up into the midfield and often plays in a midfielder's position on the power play for San Diego. Both of these guys have multi-positional flexibility. Of course, there's also Iram Pollo Ruiz, who is currently in visa limbo. And if Pollo comes back, of course, he slots just directly in to the Lovegrove spot, and you add one of the best defensive midfielders in all of the MASL. So there are definitely paths to fill Jamie Lovegrove's role. Lovegrove, I did say last week, was kind of like that last piece to the puzzle that seemed to make everything fit. So I'm not trying to say that him leaving is just not, it ain't no thing. We didn't need him. Hey, he's a great player. And I think as a star in Dallas, he'll probably be, a 20, 30 goal scorer this year for the Sidekicks. He would have been a 10, 12 goal scorer this year for the Sockers, probably, but he was just doing a great job of filling a role. I think there's plenty of players that can fill the role. The Sockers can move on. And as such, it's good to do the right thing and to help Jamie's family out. And Sockers don't even play Dallas this year. So, best of luck to the men in green.
Yeah, and I'm going to throw this out there, but Mitchell Cardenas, when he was in MLS, he actually played midfield. He's a defender here, and I think he's going to stay there, but I'm just going to throw that out there. So we do have, a lot of players that can actually make, play in different positions, I should say. So I think we'll be okay. And, it still is a loss. I would say a big loss, honestly. But you're right. I think he is going to be somebody for sidekicks. Lovegrove will definitely be scoring a few goals for them. So
yeah,
let's move on though. This is sad. I don't want to talk about him anymore.
Yeah. Well, let's move on indeed, because most of professional sports right now is singing the Omicron Blues. And we have seen the NHL shut down. We've seen the NBA postpone a number of games. Jerry is keeping it safe, making sure that any online viruses don't infect him during the course of this broadcast. We've seen the Baltimore Blast have 3 consecutive games postponed, including a scheduled December 26th game at Utica City FC that is off the board and hopefully will be rescheduled at some point down the road. But as it is affecting everyone, I saw a tweet this morning, Jerry, that the NFL had twice as many players put into COVID protocol in 1 month as they did in the entire season last year. So obviously Omicron is surging through, and it's left everybody working in professional sports, this firsthand, man, in a really awkward position, because you want to do what's right for everyone. You want to be as safe as possible. We're providing a safe environment inside Pechanga Arena, San Diego, for you to come to the game on Sunday. But you also have to respect the health and safety of the players. And if the players test positive, they have to play. They have to sit out. And if enough guys positive out, you can't play. So I'm happy to announce that coming out of the holidays, our club was tested, and there may be a couple of coaches, there might be a player, but it's been so far so good. I'm knocking on the closest wooden surface I can find, which is my silly head. But hopefully, Sockers are coming through okay so far. Fingers crossed, we are on track to play this match on Sunday evening, 5 o'clock, inside Pechanga Arena, San Diego. So, again, light a candle for us, for the club, for Ontario, for the staff. Everyone's going to be testing going into this match. We've got a vaccinated group, and we're looking to put on a great game. Just as a point of caution, the soccer staff is working from home this week. And that was both partially because in the building we worked in, there was a situation not in our area, but in a different area, but also to make sure that our staff is healthy to be there on Sunday, and just to make sure that everyone is healthy to be there on Sunday. So stay healthy, stay safe. We've talked about it before. Get that booster. If for some reason you haven't started on your vaccination profile, get that going. It's free. You can go anywhere. You can go to Albertsons. You can go to CVS. You can go to Target. You can get that jab. And, we'll see you at Pechanga Arena. But it looks like game's on.
We want to be very careful. I mean, you have to keep in mind some, teams are being affected. Somebody like Baltimore, with the third postponed game now at this point. It's just do the right thing and be safe for everybody. Make sure you're getting tested. If you really, I don't know why you're choosing not to get vaccinated, but if you choose not to, get tested. Make sure that you're good to go. If you're coming to the game, we do want to see everybody there this Sunday. I will be there. Craig will be there. And, we want to make sure that we can say hi to you guys and everybody's good and safe. But yeah, again, family first. That's one of the things with this club that's really, really important. And along with that comes health first as well for everybody. So nothing but the best for everybody that's listening here. And thank you guys again for joining us here on Twitch TV. It's a tough time for all of us in the front office having to deal with all of this and navigate all of this. And here we are again, right? I was just looking at my Time Hop app on my phone, and it showed me a picture of us this time last year. We were actually quarantined at this point last year.
Yeah.
I do not want to have to go through that again. I know nobody wants to have to go through that again. So, yeah, let's be safe.
Let's everybody be safe. I kind of alluded to it, but news out of Soccer's practice is encouraging this week. Luis Pee Wee Ortega looks to be on track to start and to play against the Ontario Fury on Sunday. And that would be his first appearance, in 2 seasons. And it's easy to kind of forget what you have in a player like Pee Wee. But let's talk about Pee Wee for a minute, because you're talking about one of the toughest pound for pound players in the MASL. You're talking about a guy who's as strong in the corners as people a foot taller and 100 pounds heavier than him. A guy that's got a really good touch on the ball. And by the way, has a sneaky, terrific shot that has put him on special teams and set pieces at various points in his soccer's career. The only knock on Pee Wee Ortega in his career, Jerry, has been his availability, that he's been injured a lot. And he came into this season with an injury, but here it is, match 3, looking to draw in. And I think it's going to be a big add to this soccer's team, staying healthy going forward.
Pee Wee's one of those guys in 2018, 2019, he had 10 goals, 5 assists. In the following season after that, he had 6 goals, 7 assists. So it's somebody that can help this team quite a bit. I'm excited to see him back with the Sockers. He is absolutely a player that can be a game changer. And I look forward to seeing that. And also just, again, he's that little guy that no one can see coming, and all of nowhere, there he is, putting the ball in the back of the net. Pee Wee is very much missed last season, and I'm really looking forward to see him this season, along with possibly Cesar Cerda, sir. Is he coming back?
Cerda progressing. Cerda has been in practice. I think he'll probably be upgraded on the injury report from either out to doubtful or from doubtful to questionable. But it's not a guarantee, I think, that you'll see Cesar Cerda on Sunday, and it's not a guarantee that you'll see Cesar Cerda on Sunday, which is basically me saying nothing in about 40 words. But Cesar took his injury later in training camp than Pee-wee, who pretty much came into training camp with an injury. Cesar, as we mentioned a few episodes back, had that hamstring where it was like, don't run. Damn it, you ran, and yanked it a little bit. And you always have to be careful with hammies. It's one of the most tricky injuries across professional sports. So if he's not back this week, there's a week between games and then another week between games. It's not until you get to match 6 that you start to see the Sockers getting that accelerated schedule where they're playing so many games in a row and 4 games in 8 days and the like. That'll be coming in January. That's coming later, but it's not here yet. So still time for Cerda to get back in the lineup. 50-50, I'd say, for this week. But Charlie Gonzalez, Juan Carlos Gonzalez, back in practice. He missed the Sockers home opener on December 19th. He was in safety protocols, and he is back. So that's huge, right? Because we didn't want to have the first of 6 matchups between Sockers Fury without having the first of 6 matchups between Charlie and the Fury.
No, we don't want that at all. No, I'm glad to hear that. Very, very relieved to have him back again, specifically for these next few games against the Fury. It's going to be good. The 2nd and the 9th for everybody that's keeping track. So, yeah, this Sunday's game is looking like it's going to be a fun one. And if everything, like you said, fingers crossed, we get to see Charlie score some golazos on his last team.
Yeah. There were a couple of coaches that were out this week that could be in protocol, and that could affect theoretically who's on the bench on Sunday. And we'll just leave it at that for now, and we'll see what happens as we go forward a little bit. But as we kind of wrap up Soccer's news, we do have, like I said, we'll talk about some more things about the arena and about everything that's happening after our interview. But I wanted to, before we get too deep, have 2 announcements. The first is one that you're used to hearing on Soccer's Overtime, which is that Soccer's Overtime is proudly presented by our dear friends at 3 Punk Ales Brewing in Chula Vista, California. Check out their tasting room on 3rd Avenue on Chula Vista. I'm laughing because Jerry is pointing at the 3 Punk Ales logo right now if you are watching live on our Twitch stream. 3 Punk Ales, put some South in your mouth, the incredible brewery, so many great brews, Kill the Poor, Putin on the Wrist, Tres Animales. And when is the Soccer's Overtime brew coming, Steve Garcia? We ask you every ad. We're going to be down there live in January doing another live show, a live performance on a Tuesday night of Soccer's Overtime. When is the Soccer's brew at 3 Punk Ales coming? Will you have a January announcement for us, Steve Garcia? Let's get on the hoppy trail. Let's get going. What do you say?
Look, he said they would do it. He said it, and it's recorded. It's on record. He said it would happen. So I'm looking forward to that. We'll see.
3punkales.com, the number 3, the word punk, the word ales.com. Head on down to their tasting room.
Yep.
Hey, they'll deliver if you buy enough. Go to 3punkales.com. Harangue Steve. He'll show up at your house with a few 4-packs. It's all possible. And this podcast is possible because of 3 Punk Ales, and we thank them. Second announcement.
Yeah.
This is new. You're hearing it for the first time live on twitch.tv/San Diego Sockers. This is an all-time MASL first. It's been cleared by the league. We have secured the physical space.
What?
We have the manpower. We have the technology. And when the Sockers travel to Mexico, and this is coming up, friends, look ahead on the schedule. I've got behind me the Sockers schedule. San Diego has a 4-game road trip coming up after they wrap up this 3-game homestand. It'll start in Ontario. And then on January 21st and January 22nd, the Sockers will travel to Chihuahua, Mexico to take on the Chihuahua Savage. Well, as you know, Jerry, and as our listeners on Soccer's Overtime know, probably, in the MASL, home teams are responsible for the broadcast. So when the Sockers play Chihuahua, Chihuahua will be responsible for the broadcast. And naturally, the Chihuahua Savage broadcast will be a Spanish language broadcast.
Did you see, Craig, that actually Chihuahua had somebody do Spanish play-by-play and colors and everything at like a watch party of theirs in Chihuahua while they played the Sockers? Did you
Well,
know that?
this sounds like a perfect thing for us to directly copy. So, so when I say it's an all-time MASL first, I mean it's a United States all-time MASL first.
That's
Because
exactly
I
what he said.
didn't know that, but thank you for telling me. So, Jerry and I, here on our Soccer's Overtime feed on twitch.tv, San Diego Soccer's channel, we will be on live Friday night, January 21st, 7 p.m., Saturday night, January 22nd, 6 p.m., live from the Calafino Lounge in Carlsbad, California, with an English language broadcast of Soccer's Savage. We will have the Savage feed live streaming right here on our Twitch channel. But Jerry and I will be in the little boxes on the side of the stream offering you English language commentary. We will be calling the game off the 50-foot giant television at the Calafino Lounge. And as such, we'll be able to look at it as if we were there in the arena. We'll be able to give you a good bird's eye view. But for everybody, and I've seen it, I've heard it so many times from our Soccer's fans who say, hey, we love it when you play in Sonora. We love you when you play in Monterrey. But, we'd love to have an English language broadcast. Craig, couldn't you do a broadcast of the game? The answer is yes. Jerry and I will be there. We will be at the Calafino Lounge. Now, I'm going to say this right now. Even Jerry hasn't heard this. Even Sean Bowers hasn't heard this. But it's going to be a closed venue, except for our Section 19 supporters. Anyone who's a Section 19 supporter, anyone who's shown up between here and our January 9th game will have an invite to come down to Calafino, to be behind us, to watch the game on the 50-foot big screen, to enjoy all of the delights of the Calafino Sublimit Lounge. All of that is available. Supporters only. It's not going to be a live watch party. It's a supporters only situation. It's a Section 19 only situation. You've got to be the best of the best. But if you want to get in there, you can get in there. We'll talk more about it. But put it on the date. Subscribe to this channel. Tell all your Soccer's loving friends who haven't subscribed yet. It's not just a talk show. They're doing the games on January 21st, January 22nd, kind of Manning cast style, right? Just like how they've got the game on ESPN and then they got the Mannings on ESPN too talking about it. Well, the game will be on MASL TV and then we will be on Twitch TV, you and me, talking about it. En inglés.
En inglés. No, I'm excited for this one. It is going to be my first shot at actually, I don't know, man. And I told you, I was like, no, I'm not doing colors. It's such a scary thing. It takes a very special skill, but you know what? I'll give it my best shot. And I kind of I want to do it. I've actually changed my mind since I last talked to you. So I'm really excited about it, especially against a team like Chihuahua. It shouldn't be too difficult, right? We'll see. So tune in to hear me mess up. No, I'm just kidding. No, tune in to watch.
Don't worry, I'll be here. I'll be there still.
Well, yeah, and you'd be like, hey.
Shit.
But no,
Gerardo.
No, I'm very, very excited. You heard it here first, the 21st and the 22nd. And no, I had no idea that we were inviting Section 19. So now I'm very, very excited because I get to mess up in front of people. It's going to be great. No, go tune in. If you haven't signed up and are following us here on Twitch, do it. Do it now.
And for John's question in the chat about what about the watch party at the Dana, stay tuned. The Sockers haven't officially announced watch parties for the rest of the season. We will be using the Dana. We'll probably have a watch party for one of those games, probably Saturday over Friday. But stay tuned for official announcements on that. Follow us on all of our channels on Twitter, on Instagram, on Facebook at San Diego Sockers, because we're really playing the watch party situation by ear based on the Omicron and the COVID situation. And, we're not going to put people into situations that are negative situations. But we also want our community to be together to watch the game. So just stay tuned as far as that. But the part that we're saying live and officially is January 21st, January 22nd, when the Sockers are in Chihuahua. You and I will be up in Carlsbad at Califino doing the games live. And everyone will have an English language broadcast finally for a game out of Mexico. So very excited about that. All right.
Awesome.
It's the bottom of the hour, and it's time to welcome on our special guest this week on Soccer's Overtime. He is in his second year with the club, and he's already picked up his first championship ring. He is a multi-generational soccer, and he is one of the top defenders who's going to be sleeping well the next few weeks because he's going to be man-marking the king week after week after week. Mitchell Cardenas is our guest, and he joins us live right now on Soccer's Overtime. Mitchell, Craig, and Jerry here with you. Welcome back, my friend. Thanks for joining us.
What's up, guys? Thanks for inviting me.
It's a real pleasure. It's a pleasure to have you. I know we've had you on. We did the wrap-up podcast after the championship as well, but it's terrific to have you on, my friend. And hey, let's just start off on the happy tip. How was the holiday? How, away for a bit? How has everything been?
Good. Got to spend it with family. Best way to spend those times of the year. A little break from the day to day, so that's also good to get some energy and pick back up on Monday.
Did you have any tamales?
No.
The coaches don't listen, Mitchell. It's fine. They don't listen. It's fine. You can tell.
No tamales this year.
I had like 20. I ain't even gonna lie.
Those are hard to pass up, huh?
Right? Oh my God! I wish I had some tamales. I had like ham and mashed potatoes. Comida de gringo.
Hey, that's good too.
So hey, defense wins championships, man. We talked about it last year, but great home opener to come out there, pitch a second half shutout, only one goal allowed against Savage. When you guys went back and reviewed the film, how proud were you of that effort overall?
Defensively, I thought, it was a good performance from top to bottom. From Boris all the way up to the forwards. It looked like we were on the right page, the same page, sorry. And I think we worked well together. It was a big difference from the Tacoma game, but that's also, first game of the year, hard to jump into a rhythm right away. So it's good to get that game under our belt, most importantly, and then come home and win in the home opener as well.
One of the things that we talked about quite a bit was just how impressive the defense was, being able to find an identity, how we were going to play, and it's clearly trickling into this season and continuing on, doing a fantastic job. How were you guys able to find that identity during, especially during such a tough time with COVID and everything like that last season, and then going into this one? How were you guys able to do that?
Right, I think that was kind of like the big question since last season, right? Like when we spoke on the wrap up, it was kind of the same. Like, how did it happen? Something you guys trained on? Personally, I can't tell you that it was something we worked on and focused on. It was just kind of something the guys noticed that worked, right? Like when you're in the game and you do something, you notice it works, you just try and keep that going, and kind of like a trickle effect from guy to guy to guy. And when you have 12, 15 guys doing the same thing and it's working, you're going to have success.
It's so easy, Mitchell, when you're a fan, a casual fan, even an in-deep, a front office guy, a broadcaster, to look at a game, and if you haven't watched it closely, open the box score and say, okay, well, who did well? Let's go look. Oh, Brandon Escoto had 4 points. He did well. Looks like Frank Tayu had 3 goals. He must have done well. And to just base it on, points and assists. However, it is very clear that there's a lot more to the game. And I would tell you that after the Tacoma match, when I was talking to our coaching staff and I was saying, okay, give me some rankings, talk to me, who played well. One of the very first names that came up was your name, Mitchell Cardenas. And you had an assist in that game, but it was, hey, he was either guarding Nick Pereira or Vinny Dantas every single minute and he was on the floor, for a lot of minutes. How much of a challenge is that, and how exciting is it almost when you look at a team and you go, wow, whether it's a Tayu or a Dantas or a Pereira, or a Cañez from Chihuahua, to know that if there's the best player on the other team, it's going to be Mitchell Cardenas that needs to slow him down.
Yeah, you said it yourself. It's exciting, right? It's a challenge, and those are the most exciting challenges that you want, right? It's the day-to-day, the game by game, where you're marking people that in this league have a name, make a difference. If you say those names around, everybody knows who they are. And kind of every team we play this year, if you look at our schedule, they all have a striker who's well known in the league, and like you said earlier, they get a lot of points. So it's a challenge to try and limit those points. You're not ever really going to stop somebody who's just able to find the back of the net consistently, especially with the walls. That's something different from outdoor that the casual fan maybe won't see. But there's a lot of rebounds, a lot of little blocks that lead to other shots and stuff like that. But no, it's something I look forward to every game. And playing for this club, it's a responsibility as well. And the lights are always on here, so you kind of have to perform every single game.
One of the things that we noticed too, obviously coming into the season, we do have a few new faces back there with you. We have Sean Callahan is over there. We have Andy, but one of the guys that has stood out in the last couple of games for me specifically is somebody like Juan Manuel Rojo. How has he, kind of come into the team and added to the team?
I think he's a threat going forward for us. He's a big time 1v1 player with his speed, his technical ability to get rid of people with the dribble. He's very direct with his dribble, and defensively, obviously his quickness and speed helps as well. So he's kind of one of those two-way players that we have several of those, luckily in the back who can break out and add a number forward, and obviously we have good midfielders and forwards who can find those little gaps for these guys running forward, and they can create numbers up situations for us. And Rojo's one of those guys.
We're talking with Mitchell Cardenas here live on Soccer's Overtime on Twitch TV. And Mitchell, I put on our menu just the phrase blocked shots because I wanted to talk to you about this. This is a personal gripe of mine in the league. I think blocked shots are the single worst stat, not in terms of it's a bad stat. It's a really important stat. I think nobody keeps the stat right. It's ridiculous. Right. Like you'll see one game with 30 blocked shots and another with 3, and it's the same sport being played all the time. For a guy who probably gets paid on his blocked shot numbers, how frustrated are you by that?
It's frustrating for people who I think focus on that number, but growing up playing outdoor, you never really, that's not something you hear of. Obviously, watching the indoor game and being around it, due to my dad playing it, I realized what that stat was, because back in the days you would see a lot of guys win awards just based on the fact that they had the highest number of block shots in the league, right? And I mean, it's like you said earlier as well. Like if you focus on the numbers, sure, it's a stat, and you see, I don't know, a big number, 10 in one game, 8 one game, you're like, wow, this guy had a heck of a game, but it doesn't show that he gave up 30 passes to lead to those blocks, right? So it's kind of a weird stat, but it's for the game, so you just have to roll with it, right?
One of the things too that is new, and actually I made the mistake of asking like Charlie when we interviewed him how the new goalkeeping rule affected him, knowing well that it actually doesn't affect him at all. You though, it does affect. So I'm kind of interested. Well, has it affected you? Is that something that you guys have to prepare for, like building out the back with the new goalkeeping rule? Is that, how has that been so far for you?
Oh, it's different, of course, very different. Just because for myself, who likes to build the attack up from the back and likes to give the team that in Spanish we would say like that exit, to break forward with a pass or out of pressure. It's different because we can't do it anymore with the goalkeeper, but it kind of just makes you think a little more, right? Kind of, you have to be on your toes, you kind of have to know where you're going before the ball comes to you, and And I think everybody that plays in this league has at some point in their life been taught that, and I think it just gives for more options to break forward, because now guys have to come join in the defensive third in order for us to build out, if that's what we want to do. And if not, then you've seen it a lot in these last couple of games. People are just kind of dumping and running and trying to fight for the ball up there. And one thing I like about us is that we've tried to play from the back in the last 2 games, and I think that'll continue throughout the season as well.
Yeah, it's a lot of dump and chase that we've seen kind of league wide in terms of, okay, boom ball, punt the ball, try and get a capture, try and get an aerial capture right in front of the red line or the yellow line, depending on how they painted their field. And if the keeper can get above his line, then of course he's just going to chip it off the corner glass. So
Right.
on one side, you're going to have that aerial, but it does seem that what I've seen with you guys is if you find the right pass, there's a chance a lot of times to create a 2v1 with a pass out of the back.
Exactly. And I think that's due also to the midfielders' movement, right? Moving, creating space, occupying the space, and then whoever's in the back, whether it's us defenders or if a midfielder rotated back there, finding that forward pass and taking advantage of the fact that teams are probably going to want to come press more due to that rule. Once you've played the goalkeeper out of the game. But I think, like I said earlier, we have those savvy minds, savvy players that can find those passes that you said and lead to attacking options for us.
Looking forward to this next 2 games, actually, against Ontario Fury, a team that you guys are very familiar with, actually, most recently having beaten them for the 15 championship. I will never get tired of saying that. It's one of those things that the team has pretty much remained the same for the most part. Going ahead against Ontario, what are you guys expecting from the Fury?
Oh, the same thing that they brought in the championship series. They're a tough team, gritty. They run the entire game. They don't take their foot off the pedal, and they have their system very set in stone. Right, find the big man up top, run off of him, and see what we can do from there. So it'll be a tough game. Obviously, they'll have that in the back of their minds, what happened in April, and so will we. Right, it's a responsibility we take and carry it proudly on our jersey and in the arena as well with that big banner they put up. And we're looking forward to the challenge, and I think the fans will enjoy a great game.
Yeah, 3 in a row, 2 at home, and then 1 up at Toyota Arena, 3 straight Sundays against the Ontario Fury. And someone's coming out of this with a bruise, man. I mean, you guys have leveled up the intensity. I mean, you saw it last season, and given the whole drama between games 1 and 2, and now Charlie being on the Sockers, I mean, you just have to imagine that the emotional. Well, let me lead that into a question to you. When it comes to a big game like this, how important is it to kind of not get hyped up in terms of keep your cool and don't let your emotions flow?
Right. I mean, at the end of the day, it's what we've done for our entire life, right? You kick the ball, you pass, you move, you run. It's soccer. The ball doesn't change shape from one game to the next, and I think it's very easy to kind of just move into the next game. But obviously, when it's big games like this in Ontario, you can't hide the fact that there's an added feeling to it. Something special about that game, and especially like you said with last season's results and how it all ended up. It's those are fun games, man. Those are fun games that I think every single player that's in this league would like to be a part of, and especially when you're playing for this club, right? There's always more attention, more cameras your way. There's more people, on social media talking about it. It's what people and players want to be a part of. So it's fun, it's exciting, and we're looking forward to that stretch of games with them.
One of the things too that I was going to bring up, and one of our viewers right now just brought up, so I'm going to go ahead and bring up his question because this is something that I was going to ask you as well. How do you defend Frank Tayu, man? Obviously, somebody like Ontario has a lot of firepower, but specifically, as Craig likes to call him, the King Tayu.
I mean, he calls himself that. He
calls
has
himself
a
that.
picture of himself with a crown on his Twitter. So
let's be honest, Craig, you're fanboy. Okay, so but Frank Tayu, How do you defend Frank Tayu?
It's a tough task, of course, but different ways, different tactics that you kind of have to use everything on that night, right? You can't just do one thing because, like himself, like Nick Pereira, like Vinny Dantas, they're very savvy, and once they feel that you're defending one way, then they can change their way of attacking. And if you just stick to that one thing, it's you're kind of just burying yourself, right? So you kind of have to keep them on their toes, give them little bumps here and there, let them receive from time to time, and then try to push them off the ball, anticipate them before they get to the ball. A lot of things that you can do off the ball when the attention is elsewhere on the field. So you kind of just keep them on their toes as much as you can, and try to impose yourself on them.
Couple of quick fun questions before we let you go, Mitchell. As you know, on this particular Sunday, January 2nd, we have a giveaway for the fans who come in to Pechanga Arena, San Diego to watch the Sockers and Fury. We're giving away a set of referees cards. So we get to have we always say there's 1,000 refs in the stands, and it will absolutely be the case this week, as everyone will have their own. Yes, exactly. Everyone will have their own blues, yellows, and reds. So I've got a hypothetical question for you. If I could let you keep a yellow in your back pocket where you can yellow up somebody in the match on Sunday, who do you think is the most likely guy that's going to be yapping that you're going to want to send off for dissent?
Oh man, that's a tough one.
He's thinking of his own team, by the way. Watch.
Yeah, I know, right? I'm trying to put the guys on my team away. But Ontario, they have a couple guys. Usually the older ones are the ones that talk the most to the referees, and the younger ones kind of just put their head down and play. So maybe I'd say one of the Tayu brothers, either one.
I was just counting down the seconds until you said Uzi. I was just waiting. Like, how long is it going to take?
Yeah,
we all know
it's for sure. Yeah,
that's awesome.
That'll probably be a big bet.
So much fun. And then Jerry, I think you had a separated at birth.
Have you ever been told, Mitchell, that you look like a famous character in a movie? I was just showing Craig. I wasn't planning.
I've been told several, yes. You know which one? When I was in Mesquite, they used to say I was like they used to call me Zorro from the Antonio Banderas from that movie.
Oh man, no, this is totally the opposite direction.
That was their go-to.
Yeah, well, I was just thinking you kind of look a little bit.
You're killing me.
You killed me with
which one is you, the left or the right?
Dude, honestly though, you have way more muscle. Look at that muscle on the right. Way more muscle.
Yeah, you're way.
I mean, at least that. And the curls. That guy has no curls there.
Did you tell him it was a Lord's Cheeps? No, dude, I just thank you for being a good sport about that one. I wasn't going to show you that, but Craig brought it up. Now we had
yeah. You prepped that, but you weren't going to play that image.
I'm going to blame you always for everything.
I'm going to stick with the Zorro one. I prefer that one.
Yes. Now we're gonna have to do separated at birth for every single player we get on this show, because that's gonna be fun.
There's some good ones. There's some good ones too.
There's some good ones. I'll ask you for input. Since you were the first one, Mitchell, you get some input on the next few ones.
Yes, exactly. We'll let it cost everybody else. Oh man, well, a lot of fun. Mitchell Cardenas, our guest here live on Twitch and on Soccer's Overtime for everyone listening on the podcast. Thank you so much for the time, Mitchell. Best of luck. Stay healthy, my friend. We will see you Sunday at the arena for what should be a whale of a match.
Thanks, guys. Always fun talking to you. Have a good one.
See you, man. Nos vemos el año nuevo. Next year, we'll see you, man. Take care. Bye.
Mitchell Cardenas, our guest, Jerry. That was a lot of fun.
Thanks to Mitchell for being a good sport about that. That was awesome. Yeah, that was a lot of fun. He has some very good answers, and he's It's one of those things that I love talking to these guys because they're very open and they're they give us the information that we ask for, whereas most people will give you very standard answers to stuff. these guys are willing to actually answer the question, which I very much appreciate.
Yeah.
So thank you again, Mitchell, for coming on, man.
Part of growing the culture, man. Indoor, you're a fan of indoor, you actually get to meet the player. You get to find out about the players. There's very little plastic around the sport of the major arena soccer league. You're not going to find fake people with fake interviews. You're going to get the real stuff. And we appreciate Mitchell, who's been an incredible addition to this San Diego Sockers team. All right, Jerry, I mentioned it earlier, and let's go ahead and crack this can open. There's a couple uncomfortable truths that I feel like we need to confront about Sunday's game and about the following game at Pechanga Arena, San Diego. One of these, I want to give a lot of credit to the director of marketing at Pechanga Arena, San Diego, Chris Beal, who listens to what we do and watches our stuff and follows our social media as he should. And he dropped me a note in the last couple of weeks and said, you guys are kind of skirting around the parking situation. You're kind of doing a little bit of a dance. And I said, you know what? You're right. We've been doing the foxtrot, and then we moved into the waltz and a little bit of the jitterbug, but we hadn't confronted it directly. So let's confront it directly, okay? If you come to the ballpark, if you come to the arena at Pechanga Arena to a Sockers match in 2021-22, and you come after 2 o'clock, for a 5 o'clock game, you're going to pay $15 for parking. The arena is charging for parking this year, and we want you to come, and we want you to enjoy the match. And it's a lot better to come knowing what you're going to expect than to come and be negatively surprised. The Sockers paid a lot of money over a number of years to make parking free for their fans at Pechanga Arena. Things have changed at the arena. Ownership has changed at the arena. Management has changed at the arena. The situation became untenable as a franchise, Jerry, for us to continue. The price went up. And I want to tell everyone who may not know this, that we negotiated to get the price to 15. If you go to a San Diego Gulls game, and they'll be back playing soon. They've had their last 3 or 4 matches postponed, but they'll be back playing soon. It's 25. It's 25. That's the default for Pechanga Arena, is $25 for parking. We are paying a cost to bring it down to $15 for our patrons. So are there ways to get around this? Hey, come early. We talked about it last week. Come early to the Sockers 2 match. There's a Sockers 2 match at 12:30, Sockers versus Fury 2. There's no charge for parking before 2 o'clock. So you can come in, park your car, pay a $10 ticket, to come in and see the Sockers 2 match, have an hour or so in between games, and then come back in. You can do that if you want. Is there a little street parking around Pechanga Arena? There is. Those who know. And if you find the right spot, you can find the right spot. But otherwise, you're going to pay $15. And it's uncomfortable, but it's the truth.
Yeah, we have to bring it up that did see it quite a bit on social media, that there was some people that were not happy, and it's just one of those things. Every year is going to be different. In this situation, I think that the Sockers as an organization did do everything that we could to make sure that price was as low as we could possibly get it for everybody, since you're all used to not having to pay. But if you look at it in a positive way, instead of paying 15, you're paying 10, and you're getting an extra game. And let me tell you, the M2 games with Sockers 2 are exciting. So come early, come out early, come park. You don't have to, you don't have to leave after that. Enjoy the game for $10. So technically, you're getting a game and you're paying less than you would with the parking situation. But if you are coming to those games, yeah, it's $15. I mean, honestly, I've had to pay upwards of $70 for events sometimes for parking. It's ridiculous. At least we're lucky in San Diego that it's 15. Of course, I'm talking to Los Angeles. I see you, Los Angeles, charging $100 for parking. Sometimes even the Padres parking charges ridiculous amounts. So,
oh my God, like $45 for the tailgate lot. For a Saturday game or a Friday game, I've paid it.
Yeah.
It's a disaster. And of course, the advantage to a place like Petco is that you can trolley in, right? And there's not really a straight trolley shot. There isn't to Pechanga Arena. And hopefully someday that'll be solved as a civic issue. There's lots of civic issues to be solved
That's a whole
in
nother
San Diego. Yeah, exactly. A Voice of San Diego's podcast, not even ours. It's a totally different podcast and a different episode. And to answer Joe Hut 29's question in the chat, what's the parking plan at the new arena in Oceanside? Well, we'll be able to set the price. So, stay tuned. It's not going to be the same. We'll definitely put it that. I'm not going to go ahead and make an announcement on behalf of the arena because that'd be above my pay grade, but we'll get to set the price. So that's going to mean that we're going to be able to make a special accommodation to a season ticket holder. And we're going to be able to not be, hey, it's either 25 or 15 or, give us your firstborn child, which is actually the deal. Unfortunately, at Pechanga Arena, you have to sacrifice a firstborn child from one of the three primary families of the front office. It's in the contract. I mean, what can you do?
We don't set the rules, people.
We don't set the rules, and we don't give up our children, as it turns out. We decide not to sacrifice our children. So that's the situation there. Here's the other thing that I want to discuss, kind of like, let's just bring it out in front and let's talk about it, okay? There's a mask mandate right now in the state of California for indoor areas, and that includes Pechanga Arena San Diego. I want you to know that in the front office, we hear from all sides, okay? We hear from people that are upset that they have to wear a mask inside for a soccer game and say, hey, I'm vaccinated. I don't want to wear a mask. We also hear from people who say, I'm really uncomfortable. And I got a direct message like this, Jerry, just a day ago from one of our season ticket members who said, I'm really uncomfortable because there were a lot of people around me sitting right next to me who weren't wearing masks. And the mask mandate wasn't being enforced inside Pechanga Arena San Diego. And people weren't going around like ushers making sure that people were always wearing their masks when they weren't actively eating or drinking. Well, there is a level of an honor system to this, okay? And what I'd really like to say on the podcast to all of our listeners is please be respectful of all the other soccer fans inside Pechanga Arena San Diego. And what I mean by that is this. First of all, yes, there's a mask mandate. So please, as long as you can, comply. I mean, we all got used to it over the last 2 years, right? So, I get it. It's not great to be cheering with your mask on. Obviously, you don't want to drink a beer with your mask on. There's elements of this that are inconvenient. But this is the point I'd really like to make. First off, comply when you can. But if you're one of these people and you're going to come in and you're just not going to wear your mask, we don't have 11,000 people inside our 12,000 seat arena right now. There's the ability to physically distance. There's the ability, even if it means getting out of the seat you paid for and maybe moving over a little bit, to create a comfortable environment for everyone where you can be comfortable with your personal mask choice and other fans can be comfortable with their choice. And while I completely agree with John San Diego 619 in our chat, who says, hey, buy a Sockers mask, buy a Sockers gator, show support for the Sockers by wearing that Sockers, brand on your face. Absolutely. I do that every day when I'm going into grocery stores, right? Or convenience stores or wherever. But it's really two-pronged, Jerry. It's wear that mask, but also just be respectful of the people around you. If you're going to be, I'm not here to shame you. If you're triple vaxxed and you're like, listen, man, I'm not going to wear the mask. There's 1,500 people in here. It's a 12,000 seat arena. Fine, but don't be right next to other masked people who are going to feel uncomfortable by your presence. Just be aware, be emotionally aware, be socially aware of where you are, where you're sitting, where you're standing. If we can all be in this together, we can all get through this together. And I know that sounds like a bleeping bumper sticker. I almost cursed and put the explicit tab on this week's Soccer's Overtime. I did not. I came up short.
Good.
But let's just be respectful. And that's it. And that's all I want to say about it. Everyone gets worked up. Everyone gets tense. Everyone's bringing their own stuff to this particular discussion. I really want to diffuse that part of it. I really do. I don't want this to be about politics, ideology, questions on public health. I'm just addressing this from a straight community perspective. We have to do this. And yes, if you're nervous, you can move away too. But it's like Booty Hippie says, it really comes down to just don't be rude. Don't be disrespectful. Don't be, say another word. Be respectful of everyone. And if everyone's respectful of everyone, everyone's going to get along fine and it's going to be cool. We don't have enough people in the arena for me to be like, look, you just have to sit next to the person who is this or that. And it does work both ways. If you're uncomfortable, please move. There's open seats. There's open seats. I wish there wasn't, but there are. So, I feel like we can all get through this together. And I see the people saying, hey, if you're nervous, don't come. I get that. Listen, we're fighting through this. All right. We're trying to we want as many people to come as possible. It really benefits the Sockers for everyone who wants to come. And if you're a Sockers fan, you need to want that too, and as such, what little sacrifices we can make for one another can help to benefit the community. That's it. That's all. I'm off the soapbox. I just wanted to confront that directly because it's, again, if we just talk around it and if we don't talk to each other and we just tribalize and we just kind of talk over each other and shoot arrows at each other, it doesn't work. Let's work together so we can get through this. Hopefully the mandate's done, by the middle of the month, hopefully by Star Wars night, we're back to where we were, but that'll mean the surge has died down. And that's good news if that happens. So let's work together while we can here on the 2nd and here on the 9th.
So let me jump onto the soapbox real quick because last I checked, we didn't have any masks left. I think we have some Gators left on the store, but can we please get some Sockers masks? That would be awesome. Do we have any? I don't think we do. So we need to get some. Craig. Oh, actually, I should talk to
Ezra.
Yeah.
Easy B. Come on, Easy B.
Sorry to throw you under the bus, Ezra, but I'm about to message you right now. We love
Are you kidding? Ezra Burdett doing a great job, picking up as our new director of merch, doing amazing stuff. Okay, yep. Let's transition to something a lot more exciting and a lot more enjoyable because we're talking about this Sunday's game. And when we talk about merch, this is the game for merch. If you're a Sockers fan, you've been waiting for this day for years, okay? Because Sunday is retro night and we're taking it all the way back. We're going back to the 80 to 83 retro kits, the classic kits, the yellow with the blue shoulders, with the blue collar, with the Sockers going diagonally from the right shoulder down to the left hip. It's all coming your way this Sunday. And as you see, if you're watching our Twitch TV stream, in addition to selling blank Sockers retro kits at the merchandise stand exclusively inside Pechanga Arena for Sunday's game, we have also a collection of the retired numbers as a Legends series. And on the screen right now, you see Paul Wright, Kaz Dana, Brian Quinn, Julie V, but Kevin Crow, Gene Wilrich. We've got the classic names on the classic jersey available for you to purchase exclusively inside the arena day of game. Will it be made available online afterwards? Yes, it will. But first, it goes to those who take the dive and come on down to Pechanga Arena, San Diego on Sunday. Cannot wait.
So excited for that. But on top of that, you get the referee card pack. And these things are solid, by the way. They are really cool looking. I can tell you because I have seen them. Craig has seen them. They are amazing. So come out, get yourself a set of those, and then pick up a retro kit. I know I'm going to. I might actually pick up 2. I'm really excited for this.
I mean, I knew that there were a couple of names being done, but like when I was at the office on Monday and I saw the Gene Wilrich kits, I just started freaking out. It was just like it was a natural reaction. I'm like, oh my God. And yes, we do have a couple double XLs, Gabe. I know that for a fact. I saw them on the floor. I saw them as they were sizing out. We have something in every size, including kid sizes, and in the Legends series. So head to the merch stand, pick them up. Very affordably priced, kind of ridiculously priced, I think, for something of this level of quality. Thanks to Flight Sports, doing a great job working with us to try and get the details right. I think the details matter on jerseys like this. And like, I want a Kaz Dana, I want a Julie V, I want a Gene Wilrich. I want these Legend Series kits. Or if you want to get one and personalize it yourself, you've got those opportunities. So head to the merchandise stand, find out. John asks, are they true to size? We'll work with you. Come on over, figure it out. If the large isn't working for you, we'll switch you up. We have that ability to move it around. I think it's
It's
if
a little
it's
bit
this.
smaller. It's
Yeah, I
a
think
little
I think
tighter
it's a little on the small size.
It's
I agree
slim
with that.
fit, yeah. So if you're regularly a large, you're gonna want to get an extra large. I do know that, because they are typically fit a lot tighter. Especially, from what I understand, these are a bit tighter. So yeah, like you said, we'll work with you. Come and check it out. One thing really quick, John asks, "Who can I bribe with tamales for a discount on that retro jersey?" I can't promise you a discount, but if you bring me tamales, that would be great.
Yeah,
No,
that's
I can't get you. I can't get you a discount. I don't have that power.
well,
I'm
you're a
part. I'm
staff
part
member. You get a staff
part
discount.
time, bro. But I do want tamales. If it is rajas con queso, I'll take a dozen. Thanks, John.
uh, spill the beans on the price, says Gabe. I believe it's 85. That's
Oh,
what I saw was 85. So I
85.
mean, damn, come on, are you kidding me? The Gulls would charge you $250 for that, and you'd just be like, sure, take my money. Are we undercharging? Come on out, get the kit. I think double XL will work for you, Gabe. So the kits, the cards, let's blue card the Fury, 50,000 times during the game. Let's influence the officials. And now let's talk about the game a little bit.
It's gonna be awesome.
Because you've got the Ron Newman Cup Finals angle. You've got the Charlie Gonzalez versus the Fury angle. And that's the first place I want to go, because first game ever for Charlie playing against Ontario. How are they going to react to him? How is he going to react to them?
Really, really important. We already saw what Charlie could do in the first match. I mean, 2 goals, 2 assists. I mean, this guy is coming in with the firepower that we needed, and now a little extra against a team that he knows very well. Let's be honest. He knows that team very, very well. So really excited to see Charlie and what he's going to bring. I know they're not very excited to see Charlie. So it's going to be a great, great matchup there to see how he handles himself. Obviously, I think he's very much a professional, and I think he's ready to go. I think I think he's going to put one behind the net, maybe 2, 3, 4. We'll see. I mean, Charlie's one of those players too that brings so much more than just goal scoring power. He adds so much to the team itself. And my goodness, am I happy to hear that he's coming back.
Hey, just real quick, because Gabe asked a question as well. Our
Yep.
home kits were supposed to be on sale at the home opener. They were not. They were stuck in delay. My understanding, and I just told you we're working from home this week, so I didn't see it with my own 2 eyes. I like to kind of see things with my own 2 eyes to say it definitively. But my understanding is that the home kits will also be in the merchandise stand. And if they aren't, they'll be there for the next game a week after. So I believe both will be on sale. If so come well weighted with a nice credit card that's got a lot of space on it. But if for some reason I'm off on that, then it'll be the following week. I know they're on the way.
Yeah. I like
okay. So we got hat trick Charlie. I want to see that. Tayu, we talked about him. We heard Mitchell talk about him. First game for the Fury, Frank had 2 goals. Second game for the Fury, Frank had 3 goals. Third game for the Fury, Frank had 4 goals. So obviously keeping Frank under 5 is a major goal for Sunday. Based on his progression, he's supposed to get 5. So, keep him below that, I think would be a primary focus of emphasis. And, let's just talk a little bit about this Fury team right now, Jerry, because you've got the King, you've got mostly the same team back.
Mm-hmm.
But what made Ontario's offense so bloody dynamic in 2020-21 was that you had Frank Tayu, but you also had Charlie Gonzalez, but you also had Maicon de Abreu. And all 3 guys were prolific, dynamic scorers who could also be playmakers. Now, Frank's much more of a finisher than a playmaker. He'll have his assists, maybe a quarter as many assists as goals. But Charlie is a guy who gets as many assists as goals, or more assists than goals. And same for De Abreu, who could do both. Maicon has been in visa limbo. I know based on Ontario's podcast, they thought he might be back for the new year. So let's wait and see if De Abreu pops up at Pechanga Arena on January 2nd. But Charlie Gonzalez is going to pop up. He's going to pop up in soccer's retro gold as opposed to Fury black and red. And it really led to the question, Jerry, who's going to play make for the Fury this year? So far, it's been the veteran, Thiago Goncalves, the Brazilian at defense, who's had 5 assists with 1 goal in 3 games.
Thiago Goncalves? Am I saying that right?
I think it's Goncalves. Yeah.
I mean, he's one of those players that I love to watch play. Honestly, he has such a smoothness about him when he's out playing, and he has very good control of the ball. He's one of those players that definitely adds a lot to the team. I don't think he was adding as much maybe last year because of they were depending a little bit more on other players. But this year he has stepped up, and as you said, he's 156. I mean, like the guy is gonna put numbers for them this season. So that is definitely one of those players that you want to keep an eye on. He's fantastic player.
Of course, we cannot go any further without mentioning, pardon me, we cannot go any further without mentioning Justin Stinson, the Stinger,
Mm-hmm.
who is usually good for a goal a game, and I believe has 3 goals so far this season. And when he is made the focus of the offense, he is as good on the ball, I think, as anybody on the Ontario team. And without Maicon, you really need to have a strong performance from Stinson for the Fury to be able to put up the offensive numbers that they want to play.
He already has 3 goals, 2 assists, to his name for this season. Again, very much somebody that's going to be adding to this team. They're number 10, and somebody that we definitely have to, make sure he doesn't get the balls out as he normally would. He's just like somebody like Goncalves. He's bringing a lot to this team still, and one of those familiar faces too that we should know how to, play with him, against him, but still he pulls some stuff sometimes that's like, what did he just do? So excited again. This Fury team, I mean, I don't want to dance around it. This Fury team is a very good team, and it's a very exciting team to watch. And so I'm excited to see, because this is going to be, I would say, the first real test for the Sockers this season, and we face them twice in a row. So, look out for Justin.
Stinson, and then of course Jesus Pacheco, 2 goals in 3 games, 3 points. Jorge De Leon in the midfield, the ex Mesquite, 2 goals, 3 points. The new addition to the Fury is Willie Spur, who came in as a rookie with Tacoma last year. Has signed. He's got 3 points in 3 games so far, a goal, 2 assists. He's already picked up a couple blue cards, which is somewhat interesting. But he's kind of Nestor Hernandez off to a slow start. Willie Spur has kind of filled in a little bit on the scoring side. He's a pretty silky player, pretty decent on the ball. I think he's going to be a good addition overall for Ontario. He's a solid player. Of course, they added Chris Toth. That was their biggest single addition of the offseason, so that now whether it's Toth or De Lima, it's the last 2 goalkeepers of the year in net for Ontario. Gives them a ton of depth. And then you look in the back, and you've got Robert Palmer, who won Defender of the Year last year. You've got Uzi, you've got Israel Cisse, you've got the ex-soccer Emmanuel Aguirre, and you've got Goncalves. It's a pretty offensive group. When I look at that in terms of a group of defenders, I feel like that's a group that the Sockers are going to feel that they're going to be able to work with, especially, and I see John saying we need to get Tavoy Morgan going, Tavoy, who had a little bit of a sore left ankle in that last home opener after taking the real hard kick to the left ankle in the Tacoma game. He's been saying on social, hey, come see me get my first goal at home and my goal celebration. So, I think that's going to be a really big matchup, is Tavoy on whether it's Palmer, whether it's Uzi, whether it's Cisse, being able to get the chances, being able to have the target of the ball. I think that's a huge game.
No, agreed. Did we mention? Did you mention Nestor Hernandez, who's somebody? He's also somebody up front that adds quite a bit to this team. But again, a familiar face. You mentioned him briefly there, Emmanuel Aguirre, who is somebody that when I first met him, I was very much looking forward to see him in a Soccer's jersey, and now he's on the other side. So a couple of switches, that way, this way. It's kind of the way that the league is, which is very interesting too, because you end up now facing somebody that could, that was your teammate now is on the other end. This is going to be one of those games, where we're going to have that kind of matchup. And I mean, kudos to Jimmy Nordberg, who has done a very good job of putting together a team that's quite
Very
solid.
good job.
To be honest.
Yeah, you have to give a lot of credit to Jimmy Nordberg. The Fury play together. They play with a passion. They play together, and that's what makes them a very good team. I think it's going to be a great matchup. I think that the Sockers have overall more offensive firepower than the Fury do, but the Fury have the 4-time MVP. So, that kind of levels things out a little bit. Both teams have great goalkeepers. Both teams can score out of the back. There's so much. There's a reason they faced each other in the championship last year. And this is the first, and you say back to back because, yes, of course, January 9th, Sunday, January 9th, 2 Sundays from now, the Sockers and Fury rematch. That will be our celebrity media game night. We will have our celebrity media halftime game. I've been working very hard to get all of our confirmations, to get all of the jersey sizes and the names and the numbers and all the details that have to come with that. But it's always a fun night. First time in 2 years, obviously, we've been able to do it. So get your tickets not only for this Sunday, but after the new year for January. Well, they're both after the new year, but for January 9th, Sunday, January 9th, 5 p.m. for the Sockers and Fury and for the celebrity media game. We do have a scheduled pregame fan fest as well out in the parking lot. That will be COVID dependent. We'll have to abide and follow guidelines to see if we're going to be able to stick with that. Oh, you want a couple of here? Let me give you a couple needle drops for celebrity media game.
Okay.
I'll just start. Well, I'll just start with this. We've got the Padres announce crew, Jesse Agler and Tony Gwynn Jr. coming out to the game.
Oh,
first time for both guys.
Let's go.
We got Little T. We got Tony Gwynn Jr. We got Jesse Agler, the voice of the San Diego Padres. They will be out there. We got both the 2 balls and a mic guys on opposite sides. Let's go.
I'm paying just to watch that.
Tony versus Chiva. Let's go.
Oh my goodness.
The all-time goals great BJ McPherson will be back for the 6th straight year in net in the celebrity game. Guddle number 28, BJ McPherson. He will be back. That's just a taste. A lot of local media. We're going to have a lot of representation. We're going to have a lot of fun. It's all coming together. But let's go.
There's going to be a whole bunch of these right here, too.
Yes.
A whole lot of whole lot of that.
Are you going to be the ref?
Oh my gosh, I should be. No, because then everybody will hate me more. No, I don't want to do that. Who's going to be the ref? Is there going to be
Shannon McMillan will be there. John Shannon McMillan is confirmed. Shannon McMillan will be back. U.S. Women's National Team star, San Diego Loyal front office member. Very excited. Very excited. It's going to be a lot of fun.
Is Tony Gwynn Jr. suiting up though? Oh, you have to wait and see. Don't say anything.
Wait and see. Yeah, wait and see.
Buy a ticket. Just go. You'll be there though. You will be there.
Absolutely. Cannot wait. I'll be on the PA for that. I'm going to run down to do the play-by-play on the PA. So it's always a fun night. It's always a gas. So each of the next 2 Sundays, please make it a point. Everybody listening, join us for Retro Night, January 2nd. Remember, we're going to have the retro music. We're going to have the retro clips. We've got the retro kits. We've got the whole feel coming up this Sunday. The following Sunday, it's Celebrity Media Game. Both games, though, it's Sockers Fury. It's a Ron Newman Cup Finals rematch. And, last note there. People are asking about Landon Donovan. Landon Donovan is eligible to play in the alumni game. He is eligible to play in the alumni game. I am not going to insult Landon Donovan by telling him to come to the media game or the celebrity game because he is an alumni of the San Diego Sockers. He belongs out on the field with Quinny and Jacques Ladouceur and Wadi Hermes and Zoltan Toth and the rest of the legends of this franchise. That's where Landon belongs with the legends. He's a Socker for life.
There you go.
You hear that, Landon? Please come to the alumni game, Landon.
We'll send him this clip. We're gonna send him.
Please, Landon. Please come to the alumni game. We'd
Yes.
really like you to be there. It'll be the week before your home opener. It's perfect marketing. What do you think? What do you say?
Hey, these next coming games are gonna be awesome. I can't wait to see everybody there. Please head out, but be safe. Okay, let's do this. Hugo Sanchez for the
Absolutely.
alumni game. Oh my gosh, that would be so amazing.
John, you got a number? Because I'll call him. Gabe asks, what are the rules about bringing in outside food and drink? You know what, Gabe? I don't remember. I honestly don't. Has it been allowed in whatever it was in the past? It's what it is now. And I know you've been to every game every year. Didn't see any open concession stands. Well, you know what? Thank you for bringing that to my attention. I will check on that. I'm almost positive at least the north side should be open. Maybe not at 12:30 for the Soccers 2 game. You might be able to smuggle in on that. I've written a note down.
We will find out.
And I'll pass that along. This is the great part of the interactivity of this show, my friend. Here in minute 81 of the podcast, we get to answer questions direct from the fans. But that wraps it up. That's all I got on the menu. What do you got going?
Nothing. Just excited to be back, and the Christmas season was nice. I think it went too fast, but got lots of cool gifts. Looking forward to buying myself a gift of a retro jersey this coming Sunday. So really looking forward to that, and then also really looking forward to the new year. I think it's going to be a new fresh start for everybody. Everybody sees usually January 1st as a start, something new. So I'm very much taking that into consideration, and I think I'm going to start being a little bit healthier than I was this year. This whole season of the pandemic and all this stuff kind of threw me off. I was on a while. I was doing really good, like health wise, and then it just kind of all went to the side. And so I think 2022 is going to be a very good year. Let's make it a very positive one. Like you said, this is the last podcast of 2021. Let's make 2022 an amazing one. Everybody that's here. And thank you so much for sticking around and being with us, by the way, for all of the 2021 year. Very much appreciate you guys. Make sure you follow us on social media if you're not already. And keep in mind that this is for you guys. This is your show. So if you have any recommendations, any comments, suggestions, anything like that, we are open ears. Send them our way. We want to make this, the best that it can be. And the only way that that's going to happen is if we hear from you and we get your input, which we
Absolutely.
are all ears.
Hey, on the way out, I just wanted to show this to the folks who have stuck around on our Twitch feed. We actually have, in addition to the retro jerseys, a brand new T-shirt that we are selling.
Hey!
A gray T-shirt with the original Soccers logo with soccer on it and the tagline, "Awesome since '78," our season tagline. That is, if you're looking for a lower cost alternative, that is a retro exclusive at the merch stand on Sunday. It is right there. But Jerry, absolutely echo everything you said. This show is for our fans. This show is for our listeners. We appreciate your feedback. Anzus asks, will Pollo be able to play at Chihuahua? Potentially, but just stay tuned. We're trying to get this whole visa situation resolved for Pollo, for Big Rojo, and hopefully for other players in the rest of the league and get this done. I was doing some research specifically for that earlier today. So, and yes, everything that you're seeing will make it to the online store for our out of market listeners and viewers as we progress along. We've got our tiny little merch department of Ezra. So she's first putting it out on the store in the stands, and then she'll put it out online. So with patience, we'll all get it together. Thank you everybody for your interactivity. On the way out, Jerry, let everyone know where to follow you.
Go and follow me at Cheeto Jerry, pretty much on all social media. There's on Instagram, I just post pictures of my kids if you want to go and see that. But on Twitter, I'm a little bit more active on there, and make sure you come and say hi and chat with me at Cheeto Jerry, CHIDOJERRY. I think I spelled it. Yes, CHIDOJERRY. Where can they find you, Mr. Elston?
You can find me on Twitter at 619 Sports. You can find me on Instagram at 619 Sports and Life. And of course, you can follow the Soccers at San Diego Soccers on Twitter, on Instagram, on Facebook, and on TikTok. I'm going to be cooking up a new card, red card, yellow card, blue card TikTok tomorrow. So look for that. Until then, and well, of course, if you can't make it to the game, please come to the game. SDSoccers.com/tickets. Please come out to the game. Come to Pechanga Arena on Sunday. If you can't make it, if you're out of market, join myself, Nate Abrea, and Melissa May and our TVX video crew live at 5 p.m. Pacific Sunday for all the action. Until then, for Jerry Jimenez, I'm Craig Elston. Thanks for getting to the end of this Season 4, Episode 8 of Soccer's Overtime. Until Sunday, so long. Be well. Stay healthy. Happy New Year. And go Soccers.
Feliz Año Nuevo. Bye.